your family restaurant business.
Sure.
So growing up, did parents already have the business as well, or like how do you get into like that side of things too?
Yeah. So my parents, my dad was in the military. So after after retiring from the military, he started working as a civilian on base. So he still actually has his 9-to-5 job. Yeah. And my mom, she worked at the VA hospital for like over 20 years. And once I got into, I think it was my junior year of college, my mom kind of did a change in like her work career. And she ended up, starting to do case management because she's always had a heart for kids and just the community. Yeah. And so she started to case manage kids, and we had these buildings, and basically we were leasing some buildings. They were really cheap rent, so we were like, oh, okay, well, we can, make this, something where these kids would want to come to. So there were, video game units in there. There were computers in there for kids that didn't have computers.
Kind of like a Boys and Girls Club.
Kind of like its own little Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah.
And so, one of the rooms had more stuff in it, so all the kids were like, well, we want to go to that one instead of this one. Right. Because she kind of had it separated through like age groups, but everybody ends up going to the other side of one of the buildings. And I was like, hey, we have this empty building over here. I think I can use it. I can do something with it. So she kind of was like, well, tell me what you think, whatever. So I tell my parents, I was like, okay, so I got a friend that goes to the same church as me. He's doing like poetry, and he's doing it at a place that the demographic is a lot older than what he actually is. Yeah. And so we end up starting a poetry lounge. Wow. So it was like poetry, live music, all the things, art. So for me, I love music, love poetry, but I don't actually do those things. But I figured, because I have a passion for shooting photography,
bring the creative side to it.
Yeah. So I can showcase these people that come up every week, and so we did that for about three years strong. But kind of within that, after like the second year of doing it, people were like, you guys need to have food. You guys need to start doing food. And when I was like, we don't know anything about food. That's a whole different deal, right? Like, this is completely different. Yeah. So we end up, where the poetry lounge was at, maybe like a minute up the street. Yeah. There was a place that was available, to rent. And so we were like, you know what? Maybe this is a sign, maybe, it's on the same street. It just, we pass this place every day. Yeah. And it just happens to open up. So we end up getting into that, and now we have a full-on restaurant. Full restaurant. And so, restaurant life is a lot different than just doing shows.
Right. But so it came from like ministry at first then, right? Like
you could say.
With the kids, doing that stuff with the kids and doing that, and obviously your background in the church and connections to the church and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then, you do the poetry side of things. Who were on that? Like what year was that, and who was involved?
That was like 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, 2013, 2014. And at the time, Willis Lusk, he also went to my high school, so I knew him from high school and church. And then upon my freshman year of college, I had a class with a lady whose son played keys. So I reached out to him, and crazy enough, we actually used to go to the same school a long time ago and didn't even realize it. So it was kind of like, oh man, all the pieces are here, Right. Let's just do it. So
yeah. So that's super successful, and then you pass in this, this restaurant building every day, and you think, okay, it's clearly a sign. We're diving in. I mean,
how does that work?
Yeah, if you've never done this before, what food do you think you're serving? I mean, opening a restaurant is tough, but opening a restaurant if you've never done it before, it's a whole other animal, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay, so the type of food we like to eat a lot is Southern comfort food. Obviously, we're in Oklahoma, so fried chicken, mashed potatoes, green beans. Yeah. That's the thing. Mac and cheese, Oh, yeah. So we knew that was probably the angle we were going to go with it. Kind of inspiration from it. There's a place in Texas we used to go to called Buttons.
Okay.
In that restaurant, it was kind of like a spin on soul food, type foods and stuff. And they would have like live bands play in the evening time. Mm-hmm. So you kind of get like the dinner and the show type of thing.
Right.
So that was the whole vibe that we wanted, because we knew, okay, we already have the people that can do the music, so all we have to do is just
like the opposite, right? For some people opening restaurants, they have the food and then they think, oh, we need to bring entertainment to kind of create a culture. But you already had sort of like this vibe and this culture. You just had to bring the food side to things, which is really cool. Mm-hmm. So you guys model it on Buttons and you just kind of have music and food running at the same time, and it becomes
that was the plan.
Yeah,
that was the plan. But we all know, things never turn out the way you want it to, right? So kind of before we even really, got into, trying to do the whole music with the food and all that, because obviously you got to have menus and all that thing. Yeah. So what we started doing, we were like, you know what? People go out to eat every Sunday after church. That's the thing, So why don't we create some kind of a, a thing where people can, just come to our restaurant after church every Sunday. So we started doing what we call soul food Sundays. So, crazy idea, because as a local business, it's really hard to do like an all-you-can-eat buffet. Right. But we managed to do that for 5 years.
Wow.
So, like
in the whole kind of restaurant boom that Oklahoma City's been going through, right, as well, which is never easy because you got restaurants popping up all over the place. Mm-hmm. But the great thing is you had this following already. You already had the customer client base, right?
Kind of.
Or sort of. You had people to market to.
We did, but it was the crazy thing is the part of town that we were on is an older part of town. So most of the people that live there, are well into their 60s, 70s. And most of their kids are not living on that side of town anymore. So it's on the east side of Oklahoma off of Northeast 23rd. So it was kind of hard, at first. I remember, kind of like Vern was alluding to. I remember those, days of sitting in the restaurant. I'm like, man, are people going to come? Do people see,
you gotta go through that struggle.
Yeah, it was a struggle for sure. But, once we started doing, the all you can eat on Sundays, more and more people started to know about us. And what we did was every Wednesday night, we would take flyers and go to these local churches around, and we were just putting them on cars. And so eventually people started coming, and then it started getting to like the pastors at the church. So they were like telling their congregations and stuff, hey, after church, I went to this place after church, everybody go over here. And it's crazy because the bigger that it got, it almost was like like going to a family reunion where you have people you haven't seen in forever. So it was almost still like a community thing to where we had, several different churches of different, denominations coming to eat our food on Sunday. So I was like, man, this is really cool.
That's really, that is really cool and super unique too. And just to have that and you're right. Every Sunday, right after church, you have the,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what denomination you are.
They're gonna go somewhere, right, for food.